Welcome back to the channel, Metalheads. This is Jamie with Blades and EDC. If you're new here, subscribe, turn notifications on. Leave a like also if you appreciate the video or the information that I provide you here. And it's going to be a lot of it about this knife. All of you subscribers, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And we're already well over 200. Let's get to 500 for that next giveaway. Alright, so today we are going to be discussing the Twosun TS195. There's a lot of good, there's some bad, and a little horrendous. One thing about this knife is horrendous. So before we do that, let's go over the specs of this knife. Blade length is just under 3 inches, 2.95 inches. The handle length is 4.33 inches from here to here. The weight is 4.59 ounces. The blade is M390 super steel. Handle is titanium, integral actually. It doesn't have two sides. It's in one chunk of titanium milled out and cut to form the handle in one piece. So this is one solid chunk of titanium, which probably has a lot to do with the great sounds you get from this knife. It just sounds fantastic. Tings. Get a little closer to the mic for you. Yeah, this knife sounds fantastic, and in my opinion, it looks fantastic. And there's a lot of good about this knife, but before we get into the good, let's go over the issues. A couple of issues, okay? First issue, right out of the box. This area here, where they milled out the blade so you could flick it, it was so sharp. They left a burr all the way around this edge. This whole edge here and the whole edge here had a burr all the way around it. It was so sharp that it actually cut my middle finger right here. I don't know if that's going to focus or not, but cut into my middle finger and my nail right there, right? So what I did to resolve that, which was a simple fix, I put masking tape all over both sides, down inside here and on the blade. And then I took a Dremel with a polishing wheel and just polished the edge off. Basically knocked that burr off. And it made it much more comfortable. You know, actually it made it feel great. Why they didn't do that at the factory, I don't know. I talked to someone else who has this knife. Theirs was the same way. So it wasn't just mine. And actually, this is my second one of these, right? I've already had one of these. And it had an issue. And I had to send it back to White Mountain Knives and get a replacement. This is the replacement. Well, that first knife had the exact same issue with that sharp edge. So apparently it's just something Twosun is not concerned with fixing. So alright, next bad thing about this knife is, it's not bad, it's more of a how you hold the knife. This lock bar is the most sensitive I've ever used. If you even touch this lock bar, you're not deploying this knife. You can't even touch it. I mean, which makes spidey flicking it really difficult, which is my favorite way to deploy a knife, right? So I've got one finger on back here, my pinky on the clip, and this finger on the clip. That's it. You got to keep them there. If you touch anywhere from here to here on that lock bar, this knife will not deploy. It is so sensitive. But as long as you keep those two fingers there and keep the middle finger up here like that, you'll be alright. It's just, well, your middle finger you'll be flicking with. But it's hard for me to keep my fingers there because my fingers want to be here, right? So it's very, I have to consciously think where I'm going to put my fingers, or that happens. It won't flick. And, you know, I got to think about it. So I don't spidey flick it very often for that reason. But the flipper and the front flipper, fantastic. You know? When you're doing the front flip with your thumb, that's another one where you really got to think about it. Make sure you keep your fingers, you know, away from that lock bar. So that's not really a bad, it's just part of the design, right? I'm not sure what they could do to remedy it. Well, I've got one suggestion that would remedy it and also fix the horrendous part of this knife. The horrendous part of this knife is the pocket clip. It's horrible. It's the worst clip ever made that I've ever experienced anyway. You will literally pull your pants down trying to put this in your pocket. That's how bad that clip is. And that's just one chunk of titanium there. And that's not a ball. It's not a ceramic ball or anything. That's just part of the titanium and the way they milled it. You will pull your pants down trying to put this on and give yourself a wedgie trying to pull it out of your pocket. So I haven't even been carrying it clipped to my pants. When I've carried it, it's been either in my pocket, not clipped, just in my pocket, or it's been, see, that damn lock bar, or it's been in the cup holder of my car or in my backpack, and take it out as I need it, right? But the clip's useless. It really, really is. I think I'm going to try to fix that, though. I think I'm going to take it off and attempt to sand that ball down and see if that will help. It's just so tight and no flex in this thing at all. So I don't know if that would help or not. Something else I thought about doing is taking a little O-ring, unscrewing it, putting a little O-ring underneath this and screwing it back down through that O-ring. It might give it some more flex. I think I'll do that before I sand it. I just got to get some of those little tiny O-rings that people get to put like under thumb studs. Something really small that will go down in there. And that might actually work, now that I think about it. It may give it enough flex to where it'll go in and out of the pocket. That's my biggest gripe about this knife, is this pocket clip. It's because I really like this knife. This is a really nice knife. These knives run a couple $100. They go on eBay for between $200 and $250. White Mountain Knives also does sell them when they have them in stock. That's where I got mine at. Theirs are $215, but they don't charge tax. They give you free shipping, and if you're a knife person, you probably got a 10% discount code from someone out there, whether it be Lefty EDC or Tri-State, or Jared Neves probably has one too. I don't know, but so you can end up getting this knife for a little under $200. One other little thing about this knife that it's just a personal thing. There's nothing wrong with the knife. It just kind of, I would think they would have done it differently. You can see on the blade right there, there's your detent hole. The way that it's designed, you know, where it's at, if you watch, see that hole? You can see it the whole way until it gets back underneath the handle. But when it's out here, you see it there, and you see it there. You know, no big deal. I just would rather not see that hole there, right? I'm sure they could have designed that another way to where that hole was not exposed. And the last gripe about this knife, which I should have, if I would have done more reading, I would have known this before I bought it. I would have bought it anyway, just because I like the way it looks so much, is I attempted to do a disassembly video for this knife and quickly realized that was not going to happen, because I tried to take the pivot screw out and this side just spins. Well, this side, if you see those three little notches inside there, inside the pivot, right around, like right there's one there and one up there. Well, that requires a special tool you got to put on this side, and it's a 1/4 inch bit with those 3 prongs that go on this side, and then you use your standard Torx there on this side to take the pivot apart. And I didn't have that tool, and I couldn't come up with a way to do that without totally tearing the knife out of hell in the process. So luckily, White Mountain Knives does sell that tool. It's like $24, and it's basically like a bit. It's ridiculous that it costs that much. It's a $2 bit. It's literally like a bit for a drill, except, or like a little bit bigger than that, but has a head on it that fits that, you know. But I ordered it. It hasn't came in yet. They were out of stock for a long time, and they got them back, and I ordered it a couple days ago, so it should be here by the end of this week coming up. So, and then I'm gonna do a disassembly video, and this will be the first integral I've ever disassembled. It's the first integral I've ever owned. So, but I want to know what makes it tick, you know. I want to see what's on the inside, see what's going on in this pivot, and get in there, clean it, and lube it. One thing about that detent hole being exposed is it's really easy to drop some KPO heavy right there in that hole, and then, you know, move the blade back and forth. Actually, it's due for that now, so go ahead and do it. And that does make that convenient, but I'd still rather not see the hole. Little tiny drop. There we go. Yeah, that'll spread it down that detent track. This knife has fantastic action. So let's talk about the good. $200 basically, right? Look at what you're getting. You're getting M390, and you're getting an integral, full titanium milling that's just beautiful, to me anyway. I love this frag milling. Nice and smooth on the top here. Frag over here. A milled, granted it's horrendous, but it's a milled titanium pocket clip. And the action and fidget factor of this thing is amazing. I mean, it really is. This knife is so good and so smooth. You can just sit here and fidget with it for hours. Something else I just made me remember. This jimping up here for the front flipper, it's a little sharp. It's not terrible, but it's a little sharp. If you're not used to, like on my thumb, it doesn't bother me at all, but when I flip it like that with my index finger here, I do feel it there, but it's not a place I'm, used to flipping knives. So I'm sure a callus will wear in there like they have everywhere else over time. But this knife is so good, and it cuts amazing. It's got a flat grind, and this thing is a razor blade, man. This thing is it cuts so good. It's so slicey through cardboard or plastic tie wraps or the big wide plastic wraps they put on pallets. They put those around a lot of the material that we get delivered, and this thing cuts through them like they're butter. I mean, it just glides right through them. And, with the price and it being M390, and you look at other comparable knives, you're like, is it really M390? And how good is the M390? Well, I can't say for sure it's M390, right? I have no way to test that. But I can tell you, whatever it is, it's not staining at all. It's not. I got one little scratch on here somewhere. I have to look for it to find it. It's so little. Right here. Right there. See that? It's the only scratch I've got on this blade so far. I've stropped it a couple times, and that's it. I hadn't even put a stone on it. Put it on a stone. I've gone down some a ceramic rod a few times with it, and stropped it. That's pretty much it, And it's held an edge fantastically. Holds a great edge, actually. Really, really impressed with the edge that it holds in the steel. Where's my microfiber? Wipe some of that oil off of here. Some of it's starting to come back out. But yeah, it's a beautiful knife. I mean, it's kind of futuristic looking to me. Looks like something you'd find in Star Wars, which I like. I really like. And let's give you some comparisons here, size comparisons. We'll do pair 3. So it's a nice size, full size knife. And how about a penguin? Bigger than both of those. And how about a Spyderco smock? They're about the same size, actually. I think the smock is just a little bit longer. Yeah, smock, yeah, probably about a ½ inch longer. A nimble. So, yeah, quite a bit longer than a nimble. So it's a full-size knife. It feels great in your hand. It's very ergonomic. It's one thing I can say about the pocket clip. The only good thing about the pocket clip is you don't feel the pocket clip. You got this thing in hand, and you're squeezing it. You know it's there, but there are no hot spots. There are no hot spots anywhere in this knife, other than maybe this jimping right here for the flipper. If you get your hand up here too tight against it this way, but normally I've had my finger up here, and I don't even feel that. But if you're right here, you can feel that jimping, and that's that same jimping that's up here that's a little rough when you flip it this way. It's not bad. It's just, I think it's more that this part of my finger is not calloused. It's not accustomed to flipping knives. I'm not very into front flippers usually. I'm becoming more and more into them, as you can tell, from some of the knives I've got now. So I'm getting into the front flippers. I'm still not good at it though. But yeah, well, that's gonna do it, guys. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments. Leave a like if you appreciate the video and the information. And I recommend the knife. Just know you're probably gonna have to polish down this area here, knock the burr off of it, and we got to figure out a solution for this clip. Hopefully the O-ring, the little tiny O-ring underneath it, will resolve that. I will know by the time I do the disassembly video, and I'll let you know then. I may know before then. If I do, I'll go ahead and post it on Instagram or something, let you know if that helped. And It's a lot of knife and a lot of knife quality material for $200. It's hard to argue with this thing, man. And if you like that look in a knife, yeah, you know, just look at it. As Bees Blades would say, just look at it. Look at that thing. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.